This is the GuliKit KK3 MAX, a Nintendo Switch controller that is also compatible with PC, and for $80 you actually get quite a lot in this package. But if $80 is still too much for you, stick around to the end because we're giving away 2 of these bad boys. Stick around to the end and I'll tell you how to enter this giveaway. So admittedly, I didn't know too much about this controller when I got it in the mail, so when I unboxed it, I was actually quite surprised at what was inside. Right when you open the box, you'll notice that the controller is already secured in this neat little case, handy for travel, because most of us take our Switches elsewhere and it's nice to have another controller handy. But that's not all, because inside the case there is actually a USB wireless adapter to use with your PC, as well as these tweezer looking things. What's it used for? Well, it's used to take out the buttons so you can replace them with the other ones in the package. This makes it so you can swap out the Nintendo Switch button layout with one akin to an Xbox controller. And as expected, that is very handy when you're using this thing with a PC. It also comes with a charging cable and a very useful instruction guide that I've referred to many times. Also included in the package are these little dials that go in the back of your controller, labeled G1 through G4. If you don't know what these are, well then you've probably never seen an Xbox Elite controller, and these basically serve as extra buttons to use when you're mapping out moves in whatever PC game you're playing. And speaking of Xbox, you can tell that this looks a lot like an Xbox controller in many ways. It's shaped very similarly to it. The triggers and shoulder buttons are almost exactly the same, it seems like. The regular Switch Pro controller already kind of looks like an Xbox controller, but the KK3 MAX really takes that to a whole other level. It even has Hall effect joysticks to ensure that there's no drift, and the triggers can be switched from analog to digital with these 2 back switches. So I played with the KK3 MAX a lot this past week, mostly on my Nintendo Switch, and the game I've been playing is Hades. It's been sitting in my backlog for ages, and I finally decided to beat it. But the question is, have I beaten Hades with this yet? No, I haven't, but I don't think that's a problem with the controller as much as it is a problem with me. But in my time using it to play Hades, I've had no problems with it whatsoever. It was comfortable in my hands, the buttons were responsive, the Hall effect joysticks were very nice to use, and the triggers and the grips felt very good to hold because the backs are textured, even the triggers are textured, so they have some friction to them. Overall, very nice controller, but I needed to test out the other things about it, namely the gyro, because Hades does not use gyro. So I whipped out Tears of the Kingdom and tested out the gyro, and it works. I also tried out the turbo triggers with this, probably not the best game to use it with, but holding down the right trigger made Link constantly fire arrows, so no complaints here. But I really wanted to test its PC functionality, because even though the KK3 MAX is a Nintendo Switch controller first, it definitely has a lot of PC handy features, namely the gyro aiming, but here it's called gyro assist because it can only be activated by either holding down ZL or L, which makes sense because most first-person shooters use those buttons to aim down the sights. And I tried this out with the critically underrated Titanfall 2 and I had no problems with it, but I did try it out with some boomer shooters like Dusk and Turok. I know that's kind of random, but that's what I had installed on my PC at the time, and I don't feel like it worked as well in those situations, mainly because ZL and L do something different in those games other than aim down the sights. You don't really aim down the sights much in boomer shooters, so that would require further button mapping. This is also where I tried out the back buttons, and they worked as well as expected too. In fact, I just like the clicks of the back buttons. It just feels so good to click. I don't know how else to explain it. I've never really used controllers like this before, so this is a relatively new phenomenon for me, but for what it's worth, the back buttons here are pretty darn good. So overall, the KK3 MAX has left a good impression on me. I've been playing Hades with it a lot. I've been checking out the PC features on it. After seeing how much came with it though, I was thinking this would be maybe about a $100 controller, maybe a bit more, but then I found out it's $80 US, which is quite a bargain, especially when you compare it to the 8BitDo Ultimate controller, which I've been using a lot of just because I love how it feels in my hands. That's also the same price, and the most it comes with is another charging cable and a kickstand, which looks really cool, but it doesn't come with a case, swappable buttons, all the stuff that the KK3 MAX comes with. But do I prefer the KK3 MAX to the 8BitDo Ultimate or even the standard Switch Pro controller? I don't know about that. I still like how the 8BitDo feels in my hand. I can't quite explain it, but there's something about this form factor that really clicks with me. It is quite similar, of course, to, where is it? It is kind of similar to the Pro controller in terms of its width and girth. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands here. Whereas the KK3 MAX feels closer in style to an Xbox controller, more specifically the Elite controllers. But still, for $80, case, you get all this stuff in it, including these back buttons, all kinds of customizable features on it. The KK3 MAX is really nothing to sneeze at. But if you want a chance to win one of these, we are giving away 2 of them. I'm only holding one of them because you know what just happened. But entering to win one of these is simple. I just need you to subscribe to GameXplain and go into the comments to answer this question. What is the first game you plan on playing with the KK3 MAX? Let me know in the comments, and best of luck to you all. But thank you so much for watching this video on GameXplain. If you want to pick up a controller for yourself, we have affiliate links down in the description below, so don't hesitate to click if you want to buy one of these controllers. Until next time, bye-bye.